Hello and welcome back. What is a model? So, if you're an engineering student trying to learn AI, or if you are a developer who is already working with traditional way of development and trying to switch to the AI-based development, then this is one of the important questions you need to understand. So, in this video, we'll learn about AI model. What is it? Why we need it? And how it is used in a real-world application with some practical scenarios and real-world examples. And with this, let us jump directly to the post. So, what is a model? The model is the core component which is making the system more intelligent. So, unlike the traditional way of development, where we use a lot of if else condition and hard coded business rules, the models learn from the pattern and it is directly from the data. The typical flow of a model is very simple. The input data goes into the model and the meaningful output comes out from the model. These learned patterns makes the model more powerful so that it can classify the data, it can make the predictions, or it can even generate content. And that's why the AI-based system are more adaptive and smarter over time compared to the traditional software because the traditional software always will work the same way as it has been designed. So what can you do with the model in a real world application? Decision making is the core objective of any application. In our traditional application, so we define the business rules with if, else, and other conditions. But in a model-based applications, the model learns the pattern from the data and it takes intelligent decision, which makes our decision making more smarter. And of course, with models, you will be able to learn the patterns and do the predictions, do classifications, or generate new content if you like. These are all the things which are essential for any modern application. So in the traditional way of development, the business rules are written by the developers, but here in AI application, the rules are learned from the data, and we use the business logic using if else, switch, and other conditions. And here it is probabilities and pattern learned from the data. Always the traditional way of development uses a fixed behavior, and here it adapts itself based on the data it has learned or the pattern it has learned. And the models can be trained or untrained depending upon how new the data is. For example, let us take a real world example. So, you are a student, you are entering into the college, and you don't know anything about what you are going to learn. You may be knowing the name of the subject, but what is going to be taught, you will learn day by day through the practical examples and all other things. So, that is the difference between the trained model and an untrained model. So the model keeps itself trained day by day and it learns from the pattern and it updates itself. So in the market, if you see, there are so many models. So you have GPT, GPT Mini, Google Gemini Ultra, Google Gemini Nano. So why these differences? The models can be classified as LLM and SLM. LLM means large language model and SLM means small language model. How the models are classified as LLM or SLM, it depending upon the size of the model and its capability and the cost of using it and the use cases for which the model is being used. So few of the examples of the LLM, the large language models, are GPT-4, GPT-4.1, Google Gemini Ultra, and other things. So, for example, if you look at the GPT-4 group of models, so they're capable of doing advanced reasoning, coding, and multimodal capabilities. And similarly, Google Gemini Ultra is used more when you need. It's a high-end model, and it is used for complex tasks and multimodal understanding. So basically, most of the LLM models are having more capacity and they can do very complex tasks. The next model we are talking about is SLM, that's a small language model. Especially these models are developed for making it faster. The response will be faster, and the cost of using it is little cheaper. And most of the things are developed for a specific purpose, especially it is used when the deployment is in your device. In addition to that, depending upon the purpose of its usage, the models are further classified into three different categories. One is a classification model, next is a regression model, and the third is generative model. The classification model is used when the output we require is a category or a label, especially when we have an email to be classified as a spam or a normal mail, or you are understanding that an email what you receive is a sales order or an inquiry or a support ticket. But these are all the kind of things where we'll be using is a classification model. And then is a regression model. So the regression model predicts a numeric value rather than a category. That is, for example, like you are tracking the data of the real estate prices. You have inputs like what is the size of the house, or which area it is located, and which city it is. So these are all the things are read, and a score is assigned for everything, and it easily predicts. So suppose if you are asking for a question, what is the price of what may be the price of a two-bedroom apartment in Koramangala in Bangalore, based on the historic data, what it has learned, and creates a pattern. So it will be able to tell you what is the predicted price of it. So basically, it learns from relationship. In our case, what we said, the relationship is the area, the size, the season, all those things are related, and a pattern is created. And based on that, the score is assigned, and your output is predicted. The third is the generative models, which you normally use it very frequently. For example, we are using the ChatGPT to generate an answer or generate a content. Anything which is able to generate a content, an image or a video or generative models. We are not going to create any new models. What we are going to do in our discourse is like we will be using a model which is existing in the market. It may be GPT or it may be Google Gemini or it may be OpenAI. So these are all the models which we'll be using and developing our application and learn. And moreover, one more thing we should be aware of is for using this model, there is a slight cost involved in it. So, so we need to be aware of it and we need to proceed further. So, how models will be used in our application? So, for example, we are creating an application. It may be a mobile application, or it may be an ERP application, or it may be a Power App. So, when the user is requesting a question, so that input is sent to a model API. Model API uses the model and provides you with a prediction or an output or generates a text, summarizes things, anything you want, it is generating, and that API is returning back the response to your application, and that your application is displaying it to your user. For example, let us take a resume processing application. So we are uploading a resume. The model extracts the key information from the resume and it does a scoring. And based on that scoring, it takes a decision as rejected or shortlisted. So as a developer, what can you do with this model? So with this model in an AI-based application, we can implement intelligence. See, for example, like you are creating an application for a customer support. So a customer is sending an email or he's putting his text inside a chat box. So you will be able to predict whether his input or the email is a customer complaint or it is an appreciation or he is asking a doubt to be answered. And based on that, either you can take a decision or you can direct it to your human. Or if it is a support ticket for which a solution can be provided. You can generate an answer and you can send it back in a chat window or through an email. So when we do it, is everything can be done with a model? No, there are few limitations. See, for example, answer or a classification or a content which a model is going to generate is probabilistic. So it may not be 100% accurate. So by the time it learns and it builds itself, the answer may be accurate, but we need to always keep it a caveat that the answer or the response provided with the model is not 100%. We need to keep it in our mind. And the model may give a confidence score, which is 95%, but there are chances that it may be wrong. So we as a developer, we need to take a responsibility and we need to ensure that we are testing for correctness. And always, how the model is going to create an answer is depending upon the data what you have provided as an input. So, the wrong inputs, the wrong answer it is going to be. To handle these limitations, we will be using something called a guardrails. Guardrails include validations, checks, content filters, business rules, and human review. There are so many things which the guardrails is consisting of. The key idea of using the AI model is that the AI based application is used as an assistant, but it is not a decision maker. The human is always responsible, reviewing, validating, and acting on an AI output. So, what is a guardrail? We spoke about it a while ago. Guardrail are the mechanism that control, validate, and monitor an AI model behavior. You said model can be wrong, may assume something, and the output may be have a probability. It may not be 100% accurate. It may be accurate, but we cannot guarantee it. And the AI always should assist the human, and it should not replace the human being. We will be talking about guardrails practically later in this course. But the common guardrails which we may have to use when it is coming for input validation. So we need to ensure that the user is not asking something which is not right. And similarly, the output filtering. So your AI should not provide contents which are problematic. And the inputs also, the user should not be asking something malicious. Maybe business rules. There are few contents which are confidential, which are not supposed to be disclosed to a third party, or it may be a customer. And there are cases where we need to include human in the loop for approval, review, and take decisions. And we also need to do the monitoring and logging of the events which has happened. So, as a summary, we say model is the brain of an AI system, and we need to ensure and we need to understand that models learn from the input, the data what we provide, and we can, as a developer, we can use models via the APIs, and with this model, we can create smart applications which are intelligent. And with this, let us conclude for today. In our next session, let us learn a little bit about agent because we are going to learn Microsoft Agent Framework and agent plays a key role in all our development activities. See you in the next video. Thank you. Bye bye.